And I always wonder when I'm starting this if I'm actually live or not. I can never tell. But it says I'm live for 13 seconds. Says there's nobody in here. Hey, does that mean I'm not even in here? Wouldn't surprise me at all. So give it a few minutes. Maybe I'll even flip over to YouTube, see if I'm actually on. I'm scared now. Make sure I mute it. Hey, Dwight Curley. That must mean that I'm actually live. I'm here. Laugh out loud. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you popping in. You're first. And see, that's the thing about StreamYards. All of a sudden, the chat just goes zoom, and everybody's in here. So you got Grandpa Rails, Marty M, Alex Brockway. How are you, buddy? And Southern 207 Hobbies. Nice to see you, bud. Sparky, you're live. Right on. MS 5107, a.k.a. Chazco. How are you, my friends? And we got Joe Rader popping in. Anfield Road Layout in the loft from over the pond. Nice to see you. Excuse me. And Bruce Giroux, Nathan DeLay. Nice to see you, buddy. John Tanzillo. Hey, we're getting a lot of the good ones in here tonight. Caboose 121. Howdy, everybody. Chris Mitchell popping in saying hi, Sparky, and hi to all. Dave, DNSF N Scale. Evening to everybody. Sean McGee. Hey, buddy. Sean, I thought we talked about this last week. You and James Galton, right here in the chat too. You guys were supposed to come over and sit behind me and be the studio audience. Just sit here and have a good old time. Every once in a while, clap, yay, cheer. I got to pay you guys or what? PDRR engineer, how are you doing? John number 2 with Schuylkill River Valley. How are you? Marty M, Dwayne's Fork and Spoon. The Carver, hey, Paul, how are you doing? And I think I've caught up, or I missed everybody. Who knows? Oh, Rick Bailey, hey, buddy, in the chat. Better check my volume, make sure it's on, just in case Rick sends me a text. Oh, boy. Humanity Junction, how are you, bud? I kind of forwarded your information to Bruce Giroux, who's got back to you by the sounds of it, so that's good. And everybody's still saying hi to everybody. That's really awesome. So why everybody's saying hi, I did this a little bit earlier in my video, bit of a mail call, but M. Peter LL, I ordered the turnouts for him. And Vinny, terrible audio. Well, that's not going to be good. Hopefully it fixes up when we get George up here then. But real quick, ordered the turnout from him. And these things are really, really awesome. Well done. And the only thing I'm not sure about on these fast tracks, so if any of you guys in the chat use them, how do you put a switch machine on that? Because there's no hole in it. So I'm not quite sure on how to do that. And playing with a lot of stuff all of a sudden. Why does this thing always go blurry? Let's see if we can swap that around a bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And we got being there. Audio is not great either. Thanks, Sean. And that mic's sitting right in front of me, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I'll horse around with my mic once I get GFW Trains up here and we'll meet them. Chris Mitchell, how are you? Now, if you guys want to get into M. Peter LL, watch one of his videos. His website's on every one of his videos, but was real quick. Or I'm going to have another bad stream. But I'm back too. Oh, I did come back. Here, we'll just get this guy up here right away. Hopefully, I'm just going to see if your video and audio is a little bit better than mine. If not, I'm going to have to stop the stream and start it over again.
Oof, that's not good.
Oh, you guys can talk.
Yeah.
Just waiting for you to catch up. Yeah, your picture is fine. It's just me that's right out to lunch again. Aw. So I just got to do one last thing. My special thanks to my super chats from last week. And we had Andy Ambrose with 2 of them and Mr. Rick Bailey. So thank you guys very much for the super chats, supporting the channel. That's pretty cool. And I don't know what is up with StreamYard. Just does not like my computer at all. Pretty sure that's what it is.
Hey, cheers.
See, my picture for StreamYards is perfect. Over to YouTube looks horrible. The people are going to keep telling me about it. So, rush right in here, guys. Surprise, you guys are on the show. So, everybody, we got GFW Trains. And
Hello.
one of them's speechless. It's not the one I thought wouldn't talk. We got introduce yourself a little bit.
Well, it's good to be on the show here. I feel your pain on trying to get everything all set up with the audio and with the visual. Sometimes you just end up pulling out your hair. When George and I first started doing our live streams here, I had a full head of hair, and not so much anymore.
Yeah, I for that one. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go.
Still horsing around with everything. So, so GFW Trains, like I said, introduce yourselves. You guys must have real names.
Yeah, so my name is George.
And I'm Wally.
Yeah, so yeah, we made GFW Trains, and actually so he does a lot of the video editing. So a lot of the videos that you see that are beautifully edited, he does. He makes those, and I just talk in them. So yeah, that's
So and for everybody watching, Sparky up there. Oh, nice hair, nice hair.
As for Container Man 68, threw me a super sticker.
Sweet. So George actually started the channel when you were about what?
8 years old.
8 years old. He started the channel.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
So it's actually his brainchild.
Yeah. So originally I just started out making Thomas the Train videos, and I think I about a year into that I kind of just phased out of that, and we've always been into O scale. I think my grandfather, he actually got us both into O scale, and my grandpa, his fascination for O scale when he was or when my dad was my age, he'd take my dad to train shows, and it kind of just same thing for me. My dad takes me to train shows now, and it's pretty fun. So
that's trickle down effect,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is. And yeah, so that's so then I started making videos on O scale stuff, and there was a time when I think it probably about 2 or 3 years ago, when my dad wanted to make a YouTube channel, and he had this really great concept for a YouTube channel named Train Buds, and so basically it was going to be me, him, and my grandfather, and we were trying to get a Top Gear type feel to the train world, and I guess you can tell the rest of the story from this part.
Well, George was I want to say we were about 10. No, you were about 11 at the time.
I think it was,
and I was doing this. I was getting out.
I think I was about like 13. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was getting all geared up, and they had an intro made and everything. And my dad was all for it, and George was really lukewarm about it. And I couldn't figure out why he was lukewarm. You know, this is his deal. He loves YouTube, and anyway, George one day is like, you know, Papa, I already have a YouTube channel. I don't want to start another YouTube channel. So we said, all right, well, we're all in on GFW Trains.
So yeah, I kind of just went for we did the videos on GFW Trains, and so a lot of the stuff that you see on GFW Trains, it probably would have been on Train Buds, but just came over to GFW Trains, and it's worked out since. So
We've had a
yeah.
good time with it.
That's right. But yeah, so that and
GFW Trains, that's got to be George, Wally. What's the F?
so actually, it's my
GFW.
Can't wait till he's done.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So
All your
it's actually it's my initial. So it's George, and then my middle name's Felipe, and then my last name's Borderick. So yeah.
So Wally's not part of this at all.
No, we always say all of our friends that do this. They always say George is the talent. I'm just the grunt that produces all this stuff.
But yeah, that's
Right on. So you guys were planning on doing a meet and greet. You just want to touch a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. And if I'll start on it a little bit, Jordan, you can touch on that
a little bit there. You guys were gonna do a meet and greet for YouTube. So
yeah, that's right. So when the stay at home started happening, George and I ended up having a lot of time on our hands where we were at home. I work in an office, and one day they just told me to put all my stuff in a box and go home and work from home. So I was at home with George, and we'd always wanted to get a live stream going for the GFW Trains. So one day we rolled out the live stream, and as part of that, we wanted to kind of coalesce the YouTube community that's in the Midwest, and perhaps even some people that were outside of the Midwest, and have them get together. And there's a really, really neat railroad museum right here by our house called the Illinois Railway Museum, sometimes called IRM. They have the most beautiful collections. And I know that I'm going to get some flack for this, but in my opinion, it's arguably the best train museum in the whole world.
Yeah, it is. It's not arguably, it is the best train.
And we thought it would be a lot of fun to invite everybody out and have a tailgate party at the Illinois Railway Museum. But as the stay-at-home went forward, the Illinois Railway Museum closed down, and they've been closed for quite some time, and they've just recently been starting to spool things up and getting their operating collection back going, and having the social distance parameters to allow visitors back in. So unfortunately, we were going to do it in September, and it's looking like it's something that we're going to try and run with next spring.
Not in May, though, I hope.
We are not going to do it anytime around the cool meet and greet that you got planned out there for Strasburg.
Yeah, that's still set now for next May. Probably close to the second last weekend. So still got to finalize all the dates and stuff like that. But I was looking forward to it so much this year. But unfortunately, something happened worldwide and we couldn't get together.
Right.
So I do have a list of questions for you that you guys have pretty much answered already. So we can just call it quits and go now.
George is all set to go to his baseball game.
Yeah.
Well, I'll throw the first pitch. So
all right, do it.
First thing I want to get off my chest, though, is Nathan had a contest last week on my channel, and he did come out with 2 winners. So we got Jerry Satterelli won the N-scale homemade models, and the Train Freak won the HO scale. So if you guys can get in touch with Nathan DeLay and find out how to get your prizes and stuff like that. But I do have both of the models right here, basically, that Nathan kind of scratch builds out of pop cans.
Check that out.
So that's from his channel there.
Fantastic.
All made out of pop can, but this one just makes me cry.
Oh.
Conrail with a steam locomotive. So I think that's pretty cool.
Love it.
And it actually puts HO gauge wheels on the bottom, so I could put it on my track and push it around I wanted, but I'd probably break it. So we already figured out where GFW came from. But when did you actually get started on YouTube, and why did you start on YouTube?
Ooh, so okay. I don't remember exactly how many years ago. I think it was probably about. So I think I started the channel when I was in 3rd grade. So like, ooh,
2 years ago, right?
6 years ago.
Time flies. Time flies.
So yeah, I was and originally I had been doing like Thomas stuff, and then I kind of moved towards the model railroading aspect of the hobby. So I mean, if you go onto GFW Trains, you'll see, like, if you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see some of the very first model railroading ones I did, and actually, surprisingly, some of the first ones I did were in go gauge. So yeah, though we're big time O scale guys. Some of the first videos on GFW Trains were actually in doing HO gauge stuff or HO scale stuff. So yeah, and I kind of started it because when I was little, I always wanted a YouTube channel. I think one day I found I was on my mom's phone, and I'd take up all the storage on my mom's phone, like filming videos and stuff like that. And I found an app called iMovie, and that's pretty popular nowadays. But I edited a video, and I showed it to my parents, and they were super impressed. So that we posted it to YouTube.
Thought we had a prodigy, a little Steven Spielberg here.
So we posted it to YouTube, and then kind of just went off from there. And I started making videos every once in a while. And then I think around so about 3 months into that, I had used up all the storage on my mom's iPhone. It was pretty bad. So then they got me an iPad. So I filmed on that. I kept making videos and just went off from there. Yeah.
So it's fun, but it's also one day they're going to be out of mothballs. But George has a whole library of YouTube videos, GFW Trains Thomas reviews that he's got. He's not of the age where he feels comfortable with those being out there in the world right now.
Here, you want to start a review? Here, you can do a review on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone back on a few of my first videos, and yeah, I've left them up, but I'm not sure why. So, all right. So you guys came up with your name because that's your initials. I really thought it was George and Wally. I couldn't figure out the F though.
Yeah, so that was been, and actually okay, so I'm gonna say this. I think he's on the stream right now, but there's a guy named Tim's Trains, and he originally was TDF Lines, and he belonged to a train club, the Train Collectors Association. He was part of the Midwest Division with us, and we went to a lot of events with him. So growing up, he was kind of like a role model to me. And he also had a YouTube channel named TDF Lines. So when I first made the YouTube channel, I was like, well, I want to be like him. So I named it GFW Trains. So it's kind of a knockoff of his original name. But yeah, that's where I got the name from.
Right on. Oh, he's saying hi to everybody. I thought he had just had a really long question for you guys. I was like, oh, good. I don't have to ask mine. But no, he's saying hi. So you guys have a bit of family history when it comes to the trains and model trains. You want to tell us all about that? Like your son, you're the father, but it goes back farther than that, obviously. You've mentioned your grandfather.
Yeah, so my grandfather, he's probably got one of the coolest post-war O-gauge train collections I've ever seen, and he's really he was in it when he was a kid, or he got his first couple of sets when he was about my age, and kind of just shot off from there like us. So and as he got older, he started buying a lot of the sets that he couldn't get when he was younger. So a lot of his trains come up from just like his childhood dreams of what he couldn't have, and now that he has now. So that basically builds up a lot of his collection. But yeah, going from there, he introduced my dad, well, basically all my dad's siblings to the hobby as well. And yeah, so he inspired them to get into the hobby, and my dad kind of stuck with it as well. And he we got really involved in the Train Collectors Association. And
so my father he's been a train, or he's loved trains his whole life, like probably everybody here on the stream. And when he was younger, he got some as a kid, and he went through the whole process where he loved them as a kid, got into cars, got out of trains, and then got older and got some more money. And was like, hey, I like trains again, and started getting trains after he got married. And right about that time, I came along, and I had brothers and sisters. So he put out the trains for all of his kids and got his kids hooked on trains, including myself. And he belonged, like George said, he belonged to the Train Collectors Association. My whole life, I've been going to train shows with my father, so stuck with me. And naturally, as George came along, he was just born into it. He didn't have a choice.
Going on that, George, do you like trains?
No, I absolutely despise of them. But yeah, going on the family thing too. One of the other things that I really like about the hobby too is my cousin's he appreciates it a lot, and he's also got a layout in his basement. So whenever we go over to sleepovers, we're always running trains on whoever each other's layout, which is really always fun thing to do. You know, just it's cool that everybody in the family appreciates it.
And everybody's into O scale, so that makes it a little bit easier then too.
Yeah.
So a little bit more of a competition through the family then?
If it were a competition, we'd win. But yeah, I think that
it's actually really fun. I think we all have a little different spin on things. We've got our layout with the YouTube channel, and our layout is more. It's just now starting to come online with tracks and everything like that. Where George's cousin, my nephew's layout he built it all himself. He's a young man who's 15 years old, and he's scenicked it up really nice, you know, like a 15-year-old would, and he's growing into the trains that way. And there's no way I can compete with my dad. He's like, ha ha ha. One day when you grow up, you will have trains like that.
Okay, so I'm into HO scale. There's a lot of N scalers in here too, and for some reason, there's a lot of O scale people in here. I don't know where they came from, but
somebody left the door open.
When you guys are talking about post-war, what does that mean?
So post-war trains. So a lot of the time, so post-war trains would stand for I forget the dates, but it would be like trains or Lionel trains made after the war,
after
World War II, and so for O gauge, those are like really, really, really hot like collector's pieces. So a lot of like O gauge collectors will collect post-war stuff, and there's so for example, like this would be an example of a post-war train. So I mean, they're really, really cool. I mean, a lot of them are like bulletproof, but yeah, there's just so many. I mean, it's just gets down to it where people just like. It's different from HO gauge, where I mean, it's like there's such few of the post-war O gauge stuff that people, you know, that they know what they're looking at and stuff like that, and it's kind of the value has gone up like a lot over the years on different stuff, and it's just like there's different variations of the different trains, and which brings up the prices. So it's just valuable stuff in O gauge.
The short answer to that is O gauge, actually any trains, but O gauge trains made between 1945 and 1969.
Thanks.
And generally there was some different brands, but generally the collectible pieces in that time period for O gauge is of course Lionel trains.
Very, very cool. So obviously you guys are in O scale, but any other scales that you guys would be into?
So I have quite a bit of HO stuff. It's actually all under the layout currently in a bunch of boxes. But when I was little, I used to be really big into HO. Actually, one of my uncles on my mom's side he's got a really cool HO layout that when I was younger, I mean, he kind of fueled my love for the HO scale, which is kind of cool having family from both sides like trains and stuff like that. And recently, I've kind of picked up N scale. Although Humanity Junction's gonna get on my case about this. I recently got a T-track module, which I've slowly been working on. If I say I've been working on, I'll probably get I'll get he'll get on my case about that. But yeah, I recently picked up N scale. I got a Kato starter set, so that's kind of what I've been doing recently. And then I think we have a little bit of standard gauge as well. But yeah.
So if you would have set up your AO scale stuff, it would have been twice the size of the layout you got now.
Yeah.
You make a good point there. You make a good point.
I hear it all the time with, well, if you'd set up N scale stuff, it'd be twice the size. So I had to take a shot.
It would also be twice the cost, though, if you think about it.
What?
Yeah, it would be twice the stuff, twice the cost. Never mind. Anyway. But yeah.
So to answer some of the questions that you're putting up, our layout here that we operate is 3 rail, and I guess it's a 3 rail O gauge. So the touching on 2 questions. All right, let's see here. So touching on 2 questions and not the one that Heath got here. The track that we've got is 3 rails, and it's generally considered O gauge. And the O gauge meaning the proportions of the model. There's also in the size that we model O scale, which is more a reference to the how you're modeling the train. So if it's got 2 rails, if you're doing it exactly right on, that's what somebody will in this size will term O scale, as opposed to O gauge, which might be something that's referenced more as a toy train. So that might be a little bit different than HO. Is that in O scale they're toy? I mean, they're all toys, but there are some that were made to be toys. And that's O gauge as opposed to, hey, there's my mom.
But yeah, going
All
along
right,
with
there we go.
yeah, so like going along with the O gauge kind of thing. A lot of the times O gauge would be like smaller stuff, the stuff that would come in like starter sets, where O scale would be a lot of the higher end stuff that's scaled to the track. So I think if you want to grab the Y3 here, let me show you. So this would be an example of an O scale engine.
Here's a better example, George.
Oh, okay. So, anyways, this would be an example of an O scale engine. This is a Pennsylvania Y3. I think my dad's getting. Okay, here we go.
So, again, this isn't to. So, this one would be more O gauge, where the proportions aren't right on to an actual train, and it's more of a toy train. And this one here is the same width of the track, but this one is more scale. Or this one is scale and built to exact specific proportions. These aren't the same engine. One's an Alco, one's an F unit. But it kind of, for those that are familiar with trains, it kind of gives you the idea of a size between O gauge and O scale.
So the rockets on the top of that one, were they gauge or scale?
That's the top secret NASA. Put them on there, and if we told you what scale those were,
it's top secret.
Right.
It's Area 51 stuff right there.
Right.
So it's always been a family hobby for you guys anyway. So that's really cool.
And the only shame of it is that I since we've started the stay at home and since we started doing these live streams, my father, who is actually the patriarch of it, he's the one that knows all of this stuff. He he hasn't been able to be a part of it, unfortunately, because we actually live relatively close to each other, and he could be a part of it, but just with social distancing and everything like that, and trying to stay safe and healthy, we unfortunately don't have many opportunities to get together and have him be a part of this. But it's kind of neat because he actually is participates on the chat function of the live streams that we do. So
yeah, I've seen him I've been on some of your live streams, and I've seen him in there a couple times. So it's pretty cool. I like when he corrects you guys when you're talking about something.
oh my gosh.
So what do you guys normally do for your live streams?
So I guess it's funny how it's kind of ebbed and flowed and gone back and forth. The main thing that we like to do is just we put on a couple of trains, run trains, have people come through here and comment, and we'll chat with them. But when we first started doing the streams on Friday, we had something that we called
Fast Friday.
And that seems to have gotten the most pop with all of the people that come to our live stream. They love
Fast Friday.
Yeah. And what do we do on Fast Friday, George?
So notice how we have a double main going all the way around the layout. We'll race trains on Fast Friday. So we normally have a really good time with that, and that's actually where the rockets come from on the Texas Special. We strapped those on there just as fun little props for the races. But yeah, every Friday, we haven't been doing them as often as we'd like to, but every once in a while on Friday we'll get out there and we'll race trains.
We do it on Fridays generally. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name.
So
Fast Friday.
So a little bit of crashing trains too, then.
Every once in a while.
My dad might be watching.
Oh.
No, we don't crash trains.
Nope. Never.
They just tip over.
Actually, not your train or grandma's trains.
No, we have a lot of fun with that. In fact, we've got a couple of engines that we've built specifically for it. Texas Special Alco was one that I bought when I was about 10 years old, and my brother bought one that was similar to that. This Marine Corps Special that we call this one Blue Ra. Yeah. And when we were growing up, he and I would race those two trains against each other on my father's layout, because my father always had a train layout, whether it was one on the floor or one that was built on bench work. And my brother and I would race trains all the time. And a funny side note, my father was an airline pilot. He's retired now. And he would be away, 2-3 days at a time. And he had this beautiful, beautiful train collection. I mean, he's got one of the best Lionel post-war train collections around. And when he would go away on these trips when he was flying, my older brother and me were about 8 or 20 months apart. We would go into the boxes of my dad's special trains. We'd go into the boxes of my dad's special trains, and we put them on the layout, and we'd race them. So my dad's priceless trains has a little scratch on it that he didn't know about it. Hopefully, he's right now.
He knows now.
I see that he's on the stream. He says, "Oh, now he tells me."
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, you guys haven't always done live streams. When did that start?
So right as the stay-at-home started, we had a lot of time just goof around. And actually, that's when we started doing we started working on our train land a lot then. And we got that to a point where we were both happy. We're able to run trains. It's probably about like 25% done at this point.
Yeah.
We're able to run trains. And we started doing the live streams right as the stay-at-home started, because we had the time to do it, and we'd probably go for about 2-3 hours at a time. And we did that every day for a couple of months. It was
We did it every day.
yeah, for I think like 3 months. And yeah, so that's when it started to kick off from there, and it's everybody it seems like everybody liked them, so we continue to every once in a while or every week we'll try and fit 1 or 2 in. So yeah.
You there? We still
Just plain. People keep telling me the camera's screwing up every once in a while, so I keep trying to switch it around. So, but Rick Bailey, there you are, bud. You didn't ask for glasses, you asked for Wilson. He's busy. Help support Sparky's Patreon. Well, that's always cool. Thanks, Nick. And speaking of Nick, I might be talking to him next Wednesday.
right on.
It's the invasion of the O-scalers. Or old,
Right, hey, look out.
Old gaugers.
You're gonna if you accidentally spill some water on those HO trains, they might blow up into O scale. You never know.
Oh, as long as they don't feed them after midnight, we'll be okay.
Right.
So ever since you started doing your live streaming, do you have a favorite live stream that you've actually done?
Oh, probably I don't know. I think my birthday live stream was my favorite, just because that I think this year's birthday was pretty incredible. I got some stuff I probably would have never thought I'd gotten train wise. But yeah, that was probably my favorite live stream, just because I was able to show off my new toys. But yeah.
We decorated the train room. George got some special gifts for his birthday. It was really cool.
Right on.
But that was my favorite. What about you?
Well, my favorite was we had this idea. George and I love the show Top Gear. I don't know if you're familiar with the show Top Gear. And on the show Top Gear, every once in a while, they have a challenge where they challenge each other to do something. And George and I, having done these Fast Friday train races, we challenged each other to it had a couple of weeks and to see what kind of a train that we could come up with for $20 that we could do for train races. Like I said, when I was growing up, I bought that one, and so we had a couple of weeks to try and come up with a train for $20 to do the train races. Let me tell you, both he and I were scrounging. We couldn't figure out something. We were looking on eBay, calling up friends, seeing what we could find for $20. And then finally, at the end of this, for our live stream, we had a rollout of our $20 specials, and then we raced them.
So I actually won that race. He but yeah, I had a like an MPC era Lionel General type locomotives, a Union Pacific General or American. I'm sorry. And yeah, it was called the Golden Eagle. It was a J.C. Penney exclusive. I got that one for $20. Sadly, it doesn't run anymore because the gears had gotten stripped out from racing it. But yeah, so and then my dad actually made his $20 challenge engine, and that was it. So yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
And this one, just for grins and giggles, what I did is I took, this is a shilling like kids whistle. It was actually like a toy train whistle, and I cut it out, and then I bought a chassis from an old steam engine and put it inside there, and there we go. That's my Thomas racing engine.
$20.
We call it the Rat Rod Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all souped up.
Yeah. You got it. You got it.
Right on. So if you got a best one, then you got to have a worst live stream you've done.
There's one live stream where we were doing like a movie theme to the live stream, and I think we had Thomas, the Hogwarts Express. I think we tried to do like an Unstoppable contest, and then I forget what was the other one.
Oh gosh, I can't. Polar Express.
Yeah, Polar Express. That was the other one. And towards I don't know. I just had a crappy day that day. I forget what happened, but it just wasn't going too well. I came down for the live stream. The live stream was going pretty good up until we were having troubles with the Hogwarts Express that kept coming off the track. And I remember one time I was trying to put the engine back on without shutting off the power. And I put it on, and I put my hand like right where the driver was, and I forget, there was like a voltage spike or something like that, and it just like grabbed my fingers, and we couldn't get the drivers to move back, so my fingers are stuck in there, and it hurts so bad.
We're on this live stream, and poor George is screaming. I didn't know what to do. He's like, ah!
So everybody else's best live stream.
Yeah, but that engine earned its spot in the box, that's for sure.
Oh, wow.
You're going right back in the box, man.
But yeah, that was probably my least favorite one.
So the other question, George, what's your favorite engine, or what's your favorite train?
So this is my favorite engine.
Holy cow! And you can pick that up.
My birthday. This is the first generation Big Boy, Lionel Big Boy. So yeah, this is my favorite engine. I think. But yeah, what's yours, Pops?
Let's see. That's a tough one. That's like trying to say which one's your favorite child. But I think I've got two favorites. One is a favorite collectible, and I've got a old Lionel Scale Hudson that I really like. And then of the new trains, I really love GG1. So I've got a Scale GG1, and that's my favorite train.
But it's not the Blackjack.
No, it's not. I would like that one though.
HO Scaler, he's just DC, but that's what he's looking for, is a GG1 Blackjack. So everybody's been on the hunt for it. So.
Oh, Humanity Junction, he does have a good point. So my other one, I have another favorite too. We actually have three favorites. So my other favorite's actually we have a cab forward, a Southern Pacific cab forward, and I like that one a lot. But yeah, and then my third favorite is my Norfolk and Western SD70A. So I got this one from my for Christmas. This one is actually really nice. I like this one a lot too. But this has got to be my favorite diesel locomotive.
So George, are you a steam fan or a diesel fan?
I don't know. I like them both. Although right now I'm kind of a steam guy, just because I like I like the steam and stuff like that. Just like it's super. I like them too. Or it's super cool. But I do like the diesels a lot as well.
So there's an insight for the people that don't watch our trains all of the time, or watch our live streams all of the time. So growing up with trains as collectibles, my father had all of these beautiful trains that many of them had never been run and not been touched very much. So one of the first live streams, George was picking up a train, and my dad, who was on the train or on the stream, started going, "Fingers, George, don't touch the train, fingers." So that's where all of the fingers comments come from, is all of the people that saw those first couple of, and so they love to tease George every once in a while when he shows a train in front of the show.
You'll have to go back and retitle that one, Fingers.
Yeah, right.
Just for Heath. Wow, old gauge is like massive.
Yeah, it is pretty massive. Although it's not as big as some of the other gauges. There's some pretty big gauges out there, that's for sure.
Well, when I'm trying to figure out where to put all of this stuff, I'm really envious of people who have HO gauge and or HO scale and N scale that they half the space.
Yeah, but your stuff does turn on like a tighter radius than a lot of my stuff does. So, like a lot of your stuff's articulated, I would think. So
right.
So that helps out quite a bit.
Yeah. Although the radiuses are pretty big. Like for some of the bigger engines, like the Big Boy, you need a pretty big radius for it to go. Even if it's articulated, you still need a pretty big radius for it to go around the track. I think the tightest curve we have on the layouts going into the yard right here, and it doesn't even make that. So, yeah.
And to get back to one of the things that you put up there, Ethan Armitage asked if we got his email, and to answer that, we did. I got the email the other day, and thanks for the compliment on the video.
Good, because person's really going through the chat trying to ask for your help. So you guys will have to watch the replay just to watch the chat, I think. So how often do you guys do live streams right now? And is that going to change?
Probably about once a week. We'd like to keep it consistent where we do once a week, and we've been doing, and that's the hard part. We did them every day consistently at the same time, and I know that part of having a good audience on a live stream is having a consistent time slot and having a consistent day. And we're trying really hard not to step on anybody's toes in terms of when we do our live stream or anything like that. We want to do it once a week, and we've been doing them either Tuesdays, Fridays, or Saturdays. Tuesdays, Fridays, or Sundays. And generally, we'll do them at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, 6 is a good time. I think even I got time to pop into a couple of them beforehand. So
right.
So with school going back in, are you back to work yet full time?
Yeah. Well, actually, so the office where I work is about. I go back to the office every day, but it's half-time virtual, half-time where I'm actually in the brick and mortar office. So I work at the county courthouse, and it's the way that the legal system in our county is working right now is that it's about half and half, where it's half in person and half virtual.
Well, George was telling me you're a janitor, so it shouldn't matter too much.
Well, you gotta keep the courthouse clean.
You could tell us what you really do if you want, but that's up to you.
So I'm a lawyer. I work at the public defender's office. I'm actually the public defender in Kane County here, or I'm one of the attorneys in the public defender's office. I'm not the public defender in Kane County here in Illinois.
Cool.
And for those of you in Canada and the United States, I kid. So I'm in the courtroom every day, be it in the actual physical courtroom or a virtual courtroom where I'm at home, but entering a courtroom setting via the Zoom platform.
Wow, cool. So your Zoom is probably better than StreamYards for picture quality. Every once in a while, you get in a text, it's like, it's bad again, it's good again. It's bad again, it's good again. It's like, I give up.
Right.
I've actually dropped it right down to like 340 or whatever it is. So who knows? But so future plans for the layout.
So the plan is right now is this is just the first level of the layout. We plan on having a second level, which will come up about to probably about this high from the rest of the layout. And yeah, so basically originally the layout was going to be a double dog bone layout. So instead of having the traditional dog bone, the dog bone would actually loop on top of itself, and that's why we would have the second level. But since my dad, do you want to explain a little bit on the second level?
Okay, so the layout is definitely, or it was initially based on being a double dog bone with one part of the dog bone on the top level and the other part on the bottom level. But I put together all of the bench work myself, and I'm not patting myself on the back. Just I'm amazed at the fact that I was able to get the bench work that I've done this far, and putting that second level on is a little bit more than I can chew. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do that and take my time on figuring that out. I've asked a couple of people who are carpenters to help out, but that didn't pan out. So it looks like I'm going to have to do that myself. So that's probably the initial immediate big thing that we want to do with the layout is get that second part of the layout in. But the nice part about the operating on the layout is rather than doing a double dog bone, we switched up some stuff that I didn't know how to do, and we've got 2 Ys on it. So we've got double reversing on the layout, which makes it a lot of fun to operate when you can reverse everything around.
Yeah, so you got 2 Ys behind you, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Something I haven't even tried yet with HO scale. Just keep doing a big loop for mine. It's a 22-minute loop, but it's
22
goes
minutes.
back. Well, it's 3 levels, so. See if anybody's got any questions for these guys. We got a few minutes left here, so. There you go.
So he wants to take us 3 levels. Oh my God.
I wouldn't do that. I say we should knock down the walls and just have it go into the other room. I think we should do that.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine, who's a friend of my dad's, who built a triple helix with 2 different levels with his O-scale layout. It was pretty amazing.
That would be cool.
He ended up selling the house and moving, and I was trying to talk him out simply because he couldn't take down that helix.
That'd be like a spiral staircase for real people.
Right. So this is a good question, George. Dave Piper's asking, what's trains are on your wish list?
Honestly, right now, so right now I think it would probably our collection's probably at a point where we've gotten a lot of stuff in the past like 2 years that when I was younger I never thought we'd get, and
there's got to be something on there.
I think that right now it's probably a Challenger.
A Challenger.
Pacific Challenger, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, because we got the big boy. Our grandpa's got the A44, so I mean we got a 3985, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what's on my wish list right now.
Very cool. Very cool. So George likes the operation of trains, and I love the operation of trains too. But I also love collecting trains. There's I've got we belong to the Train Collectors Association, and here in the Chicago area is the Midwest Division of the Train Collectors Association, and I think that I still like the collecting part of it, and I love to go find like some rare engines. So I think some rare 64 boxcars is what I'd like.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Going for boxcars instead of a locomotive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my dad. Yeah.
So, any future plans for the channel then?
Ooh.
Well, I'm hoping that it's kind of funny. When we had a lot of time on our hands, we ended up doing the live streams, and I didn't have very much content to make videos with. And I guess the basis of the videos that we had made before we began live streaming was going to other people's layouts and going out to different places than just our layout and our trains. We've got some neat videos of museums that we've been to, or friends of ours trains layouts, or places that we've been. And when I had time to produce those videos, I didn't have any content. And now that I've gone out and gotten some more content, I just haven't had the time to produce the videos. So I want to get some of that stuff out and go over to some people with some more friends' houses that have neat train layouts and show off their layouts. And I think that in the grand scheme of thing, I think there's a nice, easy groove in there that we've got a lot of neat trains that we can show off here. Yeah. And I'd love to produce some videos with George of just the neat trains that we have here. So I think that's probably a combination of both those things. What about you, George?
Yeah, I think that too. I just going along with what you say. I think it would be cool. I mean, doing train reviews too in the future. Right. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. But yeah. So I see the comment on what track we're using. So it's actually have a mixture of 2 types of track. We have we use a lot on most of our streets. We have we're using a mixture of Gargraves track, which is 3-rail low scale track with wooden ties, and then most of the curves and switches we're using Ross track as well. So yeah, I mean they look almost identical. It's just 2 different manufacturers. And the one big difference between Ross's Gargraves is Ross actually uses spikes to hold in the track to the the wood where Gargraves, it kind of just slides, the track slides into the ties. But yeah, that's one cool part about the raw stuff is that it actually uses spikes. That's why I like it a lot. But yeah, that's the type of track we use.
That's cool. So Heath mentioned something about 7-inch stuff.
Oh, the 7.5 gauge. That's the ride-on trains. So in addition to,
he said 7-inch, so maybe talking about something else.
Oh yeah, maybe. I think we do have yeah. So like I think we talked about this earlier, but we have a 7.5 gauge ride-on engine, which we belong to a club near our house, and we drive that around there. But I think yeah, but that's what you're talking about. That's the thing as well.
Right. So George is actually quite an adept engineer at driving steam locomotives.
Yeah, I do like doing that a lot. That it is pretty cool.
7.5 gauge ride-on steam locomotives. So
now you guys get a good video of that on your channel, don't you?
Yeah, we've got a couple. Yeah, and actually a friend of ours, longtime friend through Trains, that's his steam locomotive in the videos, and yeah, he lets me drive it a lot. When he gets tired of driving it, I'll take over, and yeah, it's always really fun driving it. But yeah.
It looks like a dirty job.
Oh, yes.
We have a lot of fun with that, and interestingly, though, when we put out videos on that, it doesn't seem to have the same amount of pop like as the model train videos that we do. But that's a lot of fun to go to different places. We have our train in a trailer. It's in a utility trailer, yeah. and we drive around different places in the Midwest and operate our train on the layouts that different clubs have around the Midwest.
Yeah, I think that's everybody's dream of actually riding one or operating one of those 7.5 gauge, but they're so hard to find. And like I said earlier to you guys privately, a lot of the clubs that you do find are owned or on private property. They don't want big groups there. They don't want you even bringing friends out too often. So they're really hard to get into sometimes. So
yeah, for sure.
It's not something you can just go out and say, okay, I'm going to start riding on somebody's train, because a steam locomotive itself is actually operated by steam. So if you don't know what the heck you're doing, you're going to blow the thing up. So
right.
Yeah, that's the other cool thing about the steam engine too, is it's actually just everything. Like if you go inside a real steam engine, everything there is just miniaturized to fit the 7.5 gauge stuff. So when it's cool operating the steam engine and going to like a museum with where you can go in the cab of the steam locomotive and be like, oh yeah, I know what that does, and stuff like that. But that's the cool part of it.
So
I think this question is actually for Wally.
Yes, when I grow up, I'd like to work at a tourist railroad. But George, if you were to answer that question that was asked of me, what would your answer be, George?
Recently I've oh boy. Anyways, so yes, I would. It's when I get older, I'd like to do that. And actually, right now, I'd be able to do a volunteer at a local Illinois Railway Museum. Just haven't been able to do that due to the stay-at-home. But I've been talking to some of my friends that volunteer there a lot, and this as soon as everything clears up, I'll definitely be over there helping out on everything. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're saying
I choose to stand up. Every once in a while I'm sitting down. I just can't do it. But yeah.
Just looking for a couple more in here, but that's pretty much all I had for it. So if you guys have anything else you guys want to share with everybody about your channel or what's going on?
Well, one of the things that we always talk about, and I know that everybody who's on the live stream here really buys into, is I think that the stay-at-home, well, first off, even before the stay-at-home, the model train part of our community it's a really neat part of YouTube. and I really love how YouTube has kind of coalesced this group of model railroaders that are out there, whether it be O gauge model railroaders, HO gauge. We all speak the same language. We all love trains.
Yeah.
And I really thought that is neat how YouTube has kind of brought that together. And to take that one step further, when we've had this stay at home, it's really kind of forced a lot of people into the proverbial end of the pool that they're not used to swimming in, me in particular, where I'm starting to be pushed into technology that I never really was too familiar with, but now all of a sudden it's going to be a way of life. And I've been saying this, and it's kind of a message that I want to keep putting it out there. I hope that there are younger people like my son, as well as people from my generation and my father's generation, that can utilize all of this new technology and really come together, because a lot of people say that the hobby is dying, or that it's going away. And I think part of it is because, for the most part, a lot of it's very insular, where we do it by ourselves. And I thank everybody that's on here. I thank you for putting on these live streams, and in fact inspiring us to do these live streams. You're probably one of the biggest inspirations that we have, watching your live streams as we started to get into this. But I hope that everybody here can, the takeaway from these live streams and the takeaway from the technology and stay at home and everything like that is use this to empower each other, to bring our community together.
But
yeah, that is one thing with it. Like, YouTube has brought all of us out of the closet, basically, because a long time ago, even when I was a kid, that's what model railroading was. You were in your basement, and you didn't share this with anybody else, really. But now that we're all on YouTube, it's so much easier and to find people across the world that are doing the same hobby that you're doing. So it's really awesome.
Right. How cool is that? We're talking to somebody from Canada. The other day we were talking to somebody from Venezuela. And it's just neat. It's really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Or you can talk to this guy right here from California.
Yeah, I was wondering if you like American Flyer or a Lionel.
I'm a Lionel guy, but I do have an appreciation for S gauge. Actually, I have a couple of S gauge sets, and some of our friends that we have are into S gauge too. So I'm a Lionel guy, but I it's not that I don't like American Flyer. I like them a lot as well.
Yeah, I always say I like Lionel because you get the third rail for free.
Oh, okay.
Buy 2 rails, get the third one for free.
I saw another good question too that was asked by Randall Ellis, and he said, do we have anything with magnet traction? And the answer to that is a lot of our post-war stuff does have magnet traction. I think some of the F3s up there have a magnet traction. Actually, a lot of the stuff we race has magnet traction just because it stays on the track. And for those of you who don't know what a magnet traction is, it's basically the wheels, they're magnets. So basically it'll stick to the track when you're running them at high speeds, which is kind of nice for racing. But yeah.
Or in theory, it'll pull more.
Yeah, it'll pull more as well. Yeah. But yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Share one for you.
Look at that.
Sure, you wear one of these at work, don't you?
Yeah. No, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah,
you are now.
Here we go.
Halloween's right around the corner. You're gonna be you can go in there and get all kinds of new wigs for the show.
One last thing, and then we're gonna call it a night. Someone's got a baseball game he's got to get to, so that way he's got a bench he can sit down on. So.
Oh my gosh. Go get him, humanity.
Heath is definitely one of the better ones, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, there we go, Rick.
Boom.
There we go. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it a night for you guys. I don't see any more questions. Thanks very much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having us.
it was great having you guys on, like just to get the different scale in there and different outlook on the hobby, I guess basically is one thing to look at. So
yeah, I appreciate you having us on. I appreciate all of the people that have been listening to us on the stream here. It's like I said, I love the model railroading community. It's so neat. Just the group of people and the chat with them. Good times.
and Vinny, this is why he's standing up all this time, is because the position he plays is bench warmer.
Zing!
No, Vinny likes to put out his videos and his live streams and stuff too. But the one thing that does take Vinny away from model trains, YouTube, and people in general is when the Little League is on national TV.
Right.
He is glued to his TV. Don't even call the guy because he's not going to answer. You can knock on his door with a pizza. It'll be December before he gets to you. So, but yeah, what position do you play?
So I do play a lot of the outfield, and then I also play first base as well, and then I pitch it a little bit as well too. But yeah.
George is a lefty. He's a left-handed pitcher. I haven't put any money into my retirement because I've been investing in his left arm.
There you go.
He's going to be taking care of me.
Yep. Your diapers.
See, Vinny always figured nobody ever listened to him. Well, there you go. Yes. You got a fan. I think you got a few of them in here. So, oh, I got a fan.
Right.
All right, guys. So I'll drop you guys down to the basement, and that'll be pretty much it. So go play your baseball, have fun.
And, all right, sounds great. Thanks again for having us, and thanks everybody for joining us in the chat. It was really great. We'll see you around the roundhouse.
All right, we'll see you guys on Friday. Around 6 p.m.
All right.
Fast Friday.
You got it. You got it.
Perfect. All right. Have a good one, guys. All right. Well, that was pretty cool. I like that. And hopefully my picture's a little bit better now. I do not know what's going on with this thing at all. I even dropped it down to, I think, 340. Show advance. I'm at 480 right now definition. So I'm going to try this 720 back up. And you guys can just let me know what's going on a little bit. Guys, I am loving these live streams that I'm doing right now of Meet the Live Streamers. It's really cool. One of the reasons why I really wanted to get into this kind of Meet the Live Streamer is just this whole showstopper thing. So many of us are stuck in the house, stuck at home, stuck in little small community type things with family or whatever. And this is just another way to kind of get the group a little wider, a broader social event, basically, of meeting other people out there, introducing new channels maybe, or maybe it's introducing you to who the person really is behind the live stream. So I hope you guys are liking this kind of thing right now. Buffering Sparky, that's not good. So hopefully that goes back a bit. See if I can drop my resolution down again. I'm even going to drop it down to there. Are we back? Am I back? I'm good to do the meet. So, am I back? Hey, Rainbow Bell's in here. Sean McGee. That's cool. Am I back? Am I back? I wonder if that goes to YouTube too. All right. Yes, he says. So, yeah, it's just kind of saying it's doing these Meet the Live Streamers is just, to me, it's a social event, basically. We get to see who's behind the live streams, meet them a little bit more in depth, I guess. We can ask questions in the chat and everything else. So I'm thinking it's kind of cool. Like I said, I'm enjoying it myself to actually meet everybody, like I said, a little more in depth. Like the first couple that I did, Vinny, I guess I kind of knew him because I've been there a couple times. And John from TSG Multimedia, I spent some time hanging out with him for a little over a week. So that was pretty cool. I got to know him too. But like GFW, I didn't know them from Adam, basically. I've watched their live streams. They've watched mine. It was really nice getting the behind the scenes type thing. questions asked. And Barnabas Junction, I still don't know who you are. So I'm going to have to take another trip out there in 2021 and try to figure you out. So can I be a guest, Sparky? Yeah, maybe sometime, Barnabas. Or you can just watch the replay from last week. So, but guys, that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Next week, I'm going to be meeting with the guy. He's another O-scaler, and his name is Nick. That's all I'm going to give you for now. You guys can try to figure it out. Nick, O-scale. Or is it O-gauge? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. So going to have to watch the replay, says Rabel Bell. Back, yes. Yikes. Not that far, man. Far? Far. I know. Now it looks really close. I don't get it. So it doesn't matter what I do with these stinking cameras. They keep jumping around. Try this one. There, now I'm far, far away. I can go like this. So GFW Train. Hey, everyone. So there you go, guys. If you want to find his channel real quick, I know Ralph and a couple of guys put the link up there in the chat. Replay usually takes about an hour and a half to come back up with the chat. Or you can just copy and paste his name right there. So check him out. And wish him good luck in his little baseball game tonight. Or it could be a big baseball game. I don't know. So didn't really get into that. So that is an easy one to figure out. And I know how to fix your streaming problems. We'll talk on the weekend then. Because I know I haven't seen Amy for 3 days, so wouldn't be too bad to actually get in there and say hi anyway and then get back on YouTube. Yeah. Ralph Greenwood, thanks for putting that up, bud. And Grant saying come. Great chat, Sparky. Thanks very much. Roy Smith. And Humanity Junction, Pittsburgh Train Fanatic. I thought you were switching to N scale. Huh, I wonder if his name's Nick and he's O scale. Not sure. I don't think your internet provider gives you a provision for Ethernet. I've had them test it. They said it's fine. So, yeah, ask me when you have time. I will. We'll get to that. And Otis will be last thing. You're welcome, Sparky. Great show. Thanks, Ralph. We got to get you on one of these Meet the Live Streamers because Ralph doesn't do live streamings, but he's always with all of us in the chat. You make him a moderator, and he's posting links for you all the time. He's the behind-the-scenes guy for live streaming, so one of these days we'll get you up there. So really appreciate a Sparky and all the extra effort putting in making loud, strange, really fun and interesting. So power cycle the router and modem. That's Bruce Jerome. What is your upload speed? I don't even have a test out here. I haven't done one. Yes, I do. I could do that. Hold on. Let's just try this and see what happens. If I can find it. I know I've got one. Interrupt this broadcast. And of course, now that I want to find it, I can't. Kind of silly. I find this thing all the time, and now that I want to find it, I can't. There it is. Okay, I'm going to try something here. So live stream's actually done. Now we're just horsing around a little bit. So we'll try this. Ready? Hopefully this doesn't give all my information out. That'd be me being stupid. At 42, I think that's awesome. And normally my upload speed's around 9. All right, so what do you think? Is that good? Upload of 15 megabits is way more than enough for a full, yeah. So I always figured it was pretty good. It's my computer or something, I don't know. Maybe I got to kind of clean it out or something, but I've only had this commuter out here for about a year. Like, whenever I had this shed actually built and up and running. So I guess I could go back on my videos and check it out. But it's not that old, and it was bought for streaming and live gaming and stuff like that. So, but it's built for the streaming part. It's actually got tons of USB ports all over it. Like, I think there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 12 USB ports on it just for cameras alone. So, and James Galton said he's getting 5. Speed stated at 150. So hardware, I don't know. Heath, the last report I showed up when he opened speed tests had 15 up. So that's it for me, guys. I got to get in the house and say hi to Amy. And at least I got nothing to clean up doing this kind of a live stream. So until later on, guys, thanks for joining me. Very cool. And we will see you. I guess we're not on tomorrow night. Crossed Anchors or something. Somebody knows who's doing a live stream tomorrow night. Go ahead and throw it up in the chat right now. But on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, we do have our cousin Vinny. NSF 6951. So we'll be chatting with him, meet the live streamer. Any hints, Vinny, on who you're doing on Friday? And until then, guys, you can change the brand. I can't even pronounce that word. Cheapers, humanity. Crossed Anchors is doing a show Thursday night. What time, Ray? Quick, Ray. What time? Come on, Ray. Pressure's on. What time? And I always have fun with these. Art, thanks for joining, bud. 8 p.m. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Guys, Crossed Anchors. So check their channel out. But till then, thanks for joining, and bye for now, guys. Bye. I'm telling you, this thing's killing me. There's the button. It's over there. All right. Bye, guys.